Okay, here we go. All right. Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for joining. My name's Melissa. I am the Public Affairs Director here at the Clerk's Office, and joining us is Matt Schuler, who is our Records Management Director, and he will be spearheading this webinar on how to search for St. Johns County's official records. I just wanted to let everyone know that you will be muted. Should you have a question, feel free to unmute yourself. I don't have the ability to unmute anyone. And you can also drop anything in the chat up top and we will answer your question. Also, this will be recorded, so please keep that in mind for sake of being on camera or anything that is being typed in. And we will be uploading this to our social media platforms by tomorrow morning. So Matt, go ahead and take it away.
All right. Well, thank you everyone for joining us. This is the first installment of our how-to webinar series. So on behalf of the clerk and the clerk's office, welcome. So during this webinar series, or this particular installment, what we're going to focus on is kind of what is official records, what is not official records, things along those lines. How can you get them? Um, recording activity notification systems that we have put in place. We have a recording fee calculator that's available. How can you perform an online search for land and official records? How can you get electronically certified copies of those official records? And we're also going to be able to provide some office information and other resources as well. So joining us today, we have some staff members from our recording department. And the recording department for the clerk's office, they are the ones who deal exclusively with official records and land records, things along those lines. So if we have any specialized questions, then they're available for us to answer whatever questions that we have as well. So getting into it, to figure out what are official records. So the term official records is given to one of many types of categories that public records that the clerk's office is responsible for maintaining. And Florida statutes are very specific as far as what types of documents that are and are not allowed to be recorded into the official records of a Florida county. Common documents recorded in official records are going to be deeds. That's probably the most common one that you'll find. You'll find some liens, some marriage licenses, mortgages, plat maps, road maps, things along those lines. There's a wide variety of different things that can be filed in the official records. So then, what is not considered an official record is often a very, very frequent question that we get. And anything that's along the lines of like permitting records, anyone trying to get a building permit and the packet that they file with the county in order to perform that construction project. Those type of records are not filed onto official record, with the only exception of a notice of commencement and a termination of notice of commencement, or variations of those two documents. Those are the only two documents that do get filed on official record. But generally speaking, if somebody's asking us for permitting records, oftentimes they're looking for plans or they're looking for the actual permit application. That's not something that we have within our possession. Those types of permitting records are with the permitting office at the county. Land surveys are not considered official records, typically speaking. And what we mean by that is it's going to be like for a particular parcel from point A to point B, point C, point D. Those typically are not filed with official records. Now you can find on some plat maps, if they're recorded with our office, a plat map will generally show how long a side of a parcel might be, or a lot or something to that effect. But it's not going to show like a GPS coordinate or something to that effect for each individual corner of each lot. So that's what we typically mean whenever we talk about land surveys. Usually when somebody asks us for land surveys, they're wanting us to show them like a tax assessment map or something to that effect. In which instance, those types of surveys can be done with independent surveying companies, or assessment maps are located with, of course, the property appraiser's office. More tax assessment information in general, and what we mean by that is going to be quite literally what it sounds like, what kind of information that reflects why a particular parcel is assessed at whatever tax bracket or tax level that it's assessed at. That sort of information is, again, with the property appraiser's office, since they appraise each lot, each parcel. County project records, that's going to be like RFP documents, or bidding documents if the county's trying to expand on expand a park or build a new building on county property or something like that, and then they send out that project for bid, and then they get the bids, and then they do their whole construction project. And those types of county project records, those are not filed into official records. The clerk's office will not house those types of public records within the official records. And those are just some common ones that we frequently get asked about. So then another question that we usually get asked is, how can I get copies of official records? And the first and most common way and most traditional way to do that is just come into office, come ask us at our counter, say, hey, I want to get a copy of such and such public record, and we'll print it and hand it to you over the counter. Another way to do that is you can always give us a call. Our main number is 904-813-3600. And then depending on what type of public record that you're after, then the call center employee who answers your call can direct your call to wherever it needs to go to. So you can call us and ask about it that way, or you can submit an email to prr@stjohnsclerk.com. And of course, PRR is going to stand for Public Records Request, just for everyone's understanding that way. But another way to do that is, as well, as you can visit our website, stjohnsclerk.com, and you can access our official records search and view website. And that website is available 24/7 and free of charge. And really, that's what this whole webinar, this specific installment, is going to be really more geared toward, is to kind of present to you a way to understand how to navigate that website more so than anything else. So another common question we get is, how far back do your official records go? And in this instance, it's important to know that prior to 1961 is whenever official records starts. So we have the county, or St. Johns County, was established in 1821. And so we have official records dating back as far back as when the county was established. Now, anything prior to 1961, each individual type of document was recorded in its own specific book. Like, we had a book that was dedicated solely for deeds, and one that was dedicated solely for mortgages, one solely for marriage licenses, and so on and so forth, the different types of documents that were getting recorded. In 1961 is whenever we ended up stopped doing that individually, and we just had a collective one single book that everything could collectively be filed in. And that collective book is called official records. So online, whenever you look at things online, 1961 is the furthest back that you're going to be able to look as far as all of our official records are concerned. We do have those archival records that were filed prior to 1961. We have them available for anyone to look at. Unfortunately, they're not available online right now. We do have something in the works that we may end up having something being able to provide that access at a later date. But currently, as it sits right now, it's not something that we have available at the moment. But we're not trying to prevent anyone from accessing it. So in which instance, if you want to review things that's filed prior to 1961, you would either have to come into office and use our public terminals, or you would just send in a public records request to us in order to request a copy of such and such document from 1950s, 1930s, etc. So there's information there about requesting a copy of anything prior to 1961. Another question we get is, can official records be confidential? The short answer is generally yes and no. So generally speaking, all documents recorded in official records are publicly disclosable. There are certain types of records that the Florida statutes prevents the anonymous online viewing of the digitally scanned image. So if you're trying to look through our online court record, or I'm sorry, online official records search and view website, and you find a document that you cannot view the image for, you just send in a public records request for us or to us for it. And then if it's something that we're able to provide a copy of it to you, then we certainly will. There's just some things that you just can't view online for whatever reason. It's just the way that the Florida statutes were written. And to be in compliance with that, we have to make sure that the images are not viewable as well.
Hey, Matt, we have a question that just came
Yes,
in.
ma'am. Of course.
Are older record books arranged by year?
Yes. Yes, they are. So if you come into office and you go look at records on our online, or I'm sorry, on our public terminal, a lot of the files in there are going to, so they're not all, so okay, so the answer is kind of yes and no. So a lot of those files are going to be sectioned off by, let's say, deed book 1 and then deed book 2. Some of the record series like deed books and then mortgage books, a lot of them are going to have the year appended to the folder name as well. So you'll kind of see a date range for that particular book. They're not all like that, but I would estimate probably 90% of them are. For the ones that really matter, where you need to look through different year ranges and stuff, yes, they're all appended like that. So that's not an issue. If you have any questions about that, whenever you come into office and you're looking at stuff, you're trying to figure out where to look for this particular type of document, that type of document, all of our staff members, we're always welcome to help you in whatever way we can. But yeah, if you know a particular date range, but you're not able to come into office to come look at it, the stuff on our public terminals, like I said, send in a public records request. We're happy to collect the documents for you if we're able to. Now, in that situation, though, there very well could be search fees involved with it, depending on how big of a search you're trying to do. Like, for example, if you try to say, I need to find the deed for this one particular person, and the deed could have been filed from 1800 to 1900. So looking through 100 years worth of deeds, that's a big search. So that might be an example of something that we might charge a special service fee for someone to one of our staff members to do that really in-depth search. But oftentimes when we get things like that, they usually know a kind of a 1 or 2 year range for us to look for a particular deed or marriage license or things along those lines. But yes, if you come into office and look at our public terminals, they are, typically speaking, they are sectioned off by year as well. So getting back to the presentation, our official records available are, another question we usually get is, can you access our online official records search tool with your smartphone, with a tablet, or do you have to have a desktop PC or a laptop or something like that? And good news is that as long as you can access the internet, you can access our online records or official records search and view website. So it's compatible with computers, smartphones, tablets, anything that can access the internet. And where you'd go to whenever you in order to access it, you go look at stjohnsclerk.com, and this is going to be the page that pops up for you. And the highlight, or the area that's highlighted in red where it says official records, that's going to be the area that you click on our website in order to go to the official records search and view website. So I'm going to stop with this presentation, and then, or at least the PowerPoint, and switch over to this. I'm going to show you all live how to navigate through our website. So to start with this official record search and view website, on the very top of the screen, you'll see that blue bar. And I'm kind of going to go through that sort of stuff on there first, and then I'll get into everything else that's in the middle. So home right here, if you click on that, it just takes you right back to this starting page. No matter where you're at on the official record search and view website, I'm just going to call it Landmark, Official Record Search and View land website. That's very long. So it's called Landmark. That's the company that has produced this search and view website for us. So I'm just going to call it Landmark just for the sake of simplicity. So whenever you're looking at Landmark, no matter where you are on the website, if you wanted to go back to this starting page right here, you just click on the home button, and then it'll take you right back to the starting page. I'm going to skip the search for the moment. If you go to support, then this is a way for you to contact our office or look at frequently asked questions more so than anything. If you click on either one of them, it will give you some answers to those frequently asked questions. And then it also has contact information about if you have any questions while you're trying to navigate through this website. If you click on St. Johns County, this part right here, what this does is take you right back to the original website that we were looking at before. If you click on search court records, what that does is pulls you over to what we refer to as benchmark. And I'm not going to get into searching through court records within this specific presentation, because that's just not what this presentation is intended for. That'll be a whole separate presentation later on. But that's how you get to that if you want to switch over and look at that instead. If you want to press on Get Certified Documents, that takes you to our web page for clerkecertified.com. And I'm not going to get into this right now. We'll talk more about this later on. But I'll touch on that again later. But I just wanted to show you that's what that particular button does. Recording activity notification, next one over. Now, what that is, I think that's very aptly, I believe that's very aptly titled right there. A lot of people try to say that it's a fraud alert system, and truly it's not a fraud alert system whenever you think about how it actually functions. But if you click on this, you'll kind of see what I'm talking about here. So it gives you some basic information about what you can do to fill out this form. And essentially what happens is you register a specific name that you want to be monitored by our system. And that specific name, if there's ever a deed or any type of conveyance that gets filed onto official records that matches the name that you're monitoring, at whatever email address that you designate, you will receive an email that says, hey, something's been recorded with this particular name on it. Go check it out and make sure that that's what you intended to record. If it's not what you intended to record, then, contact your attorney or something like that. I mean, it might not have that exact verbiage, but it's going to be something along those lines. It's basically just to notify you that something has been recorded with your name on it. So if you're in the process of buying a new home or something along those lines, and you record it and you end up getting that notification, then that's another way for you to verify that, hey, we've actually got it and it's officially on official records now. That's another way to kind of think about that as well. One more piece of information to take consideration here: all the information that you enter into this recording activity notification website, all that information is confidential. We cannot provide that to anybody whenever they ask for it. And that's according to the Florida statutes in that respect. So the next portion over here on the top blue bar is the fee calculator. And really, not a lot of people understand that this exists, but this is available online 24/7, free of charge. And people will call our office quite often and say, hey, I'm going to try to record this document. How much is it going to be? Well, you can go to this fee calculator and it's going to tell you exactly how much we would end up charging for it. Let's say, for example, you want to file a deed. Let's say that it is 2 pages long, and the total number of names, let's say married couple, husband and wife, going to married couple, husband and wife, plus one more person. So there's a total of 5 names. So if we say that, it's consideration, let's say they bought it for $100,000. You can calculate that, and it will tell you exactly how much money that the statutes require our office to charge you whenever you go record that document. So that way there's no surprises. Everything is right there and calculated accordingly for you. You can also print this out and take it with you And that's just a instance where it's a resource that, again, not a lot of people realize is available to them 24/7. To the next spot over to the right, there's an option here that says log on. Now, what that's for, there are other counties who have online access for uh, or online registered access for the general public, and we do too to a certain extent, but it's really not within the same scope of what other counties use it for. Really, what this is merely more geared for is internal purposes and uh, specific government entities so that they can run custom reports as far as the indexing or the index and things along those lines. Uh, but this is here in case that maybe perhaps you work for an agency or a company that has a login. That's how you would log in that respect. So if we go back to the home screen and then come over here to search, then it's going to show us everything that we can search through. Now, I do want to mention, if we go back to the home screen again, all these icons right here, if you click on any one of the icons, it doesn't matter which one, it's going to take you to that same search web page. It's just going to, depending on which icon you select, it's going to take you to which option that you can search for. So we're going to start from the top and kind of go our way down, which actually we'll probably start from the very bottom one. This is going to be probably the more common one that people use, quick search. And what this basically says, let's look for John Smith, for example. In the document type, it says I want to see all documents with my name on them, or I want to filter it with only deeds or only mortgages. Let's keep it as all documents, for example. And by default, the begin date for the date range is always going to be the birth year of or January 1 of the birth year for the US, I guess. And then whatever the end date is usually always going to be by default, it's going to be whatever the current date is. What I usually suggest for everybody to do, though, for this option right here, show first 200 records, I always say go down and show the first 5,000. You may end up getting, let's say that you do a search and then you get 10,000 search results. It's still only going to show the first 5,000. But nonetheless, if you have 300 search results and this option here is only selected, and it's only going to show the first 200. Whereas if you go to any one of the higher numbers, and if you have 300 search results that come from your search, then it's going to show everything. But I usually go for whatever the top number is. Just my personal preference is what I usually suggest for people to do, just so they have the maximum amount of search results to look through. But whenever you select all that info and you click submit, think for a second. The next thing that I usually suggest to do is come over here to this portion of the page, and I usually suggest to click on this drop down box where it says 25, because right now it's only showing 25 search results per page. The first 25 per page.
Hey, Matt,
Yes,
we have
ma'am.
a question.
Of course.
Sorry to interrupt.
That's fine.
Oh, looks like Kim might have answered it, but someone asked, how do we find the tax deed surplus and lands available lists and sales dates?
Okay.
And Kim just answered that they can be found directly on our website under public sales. So good to go.
She's on the ball. Thank you, Miss Kim.
Yes.
So, going back to this portion here, so with the drop down menu for where it says 25 records per page, I usually always change that to show all. While you're not fumbling or you're not trying to go back and forth through page 1, then page 2, etc. It's just going to show everything on one single page. All you have to do is just scroll down the page and you can look at all the records. But for this particular search, for the quick search, we just typed in John Smith. I want to see all documents with my name on it from the very beginning of the US to today's date. Anything that matches that particular search criteria, out of that within St. Johns County, we have 780 search results. So That said, now we can kind of scroll through or scroll down and look through some of these documents. Let's look at this one here, for example, the one that's highlighted for a deed. So this one here looks like it is a foreclosure. Right. No, I'm sorry, it's tax deed. But so okay, let's not go with that one. Let's go to, all right, let's go with this one here. There you go, warranty deed. It's a common document. From McGowan, husband and wife, to John Smith, husband and wife. You scroll through and you can look at the document itself. This particular one is only 1 page long. You can tell by looking at this area here up at the top of the screen. You can also tell right here on the left side of the screen where it'll actually tell you how many pages. And basically all the information that's at the top of the image itself right here that my mouse is circling around, a lot of that information is going to be found on the left side of the screen over here as well. Not all of it identically, but everything that gets entered over here on the left is going to determine what gets entered onto that label. And going through some of that information, we have the instrument number, and that's going to be a unique number that gets assigned to each individual filing. Same thing with the book and page number, that is also unique to each individual filing. The record date, again, that's going to be, that's going to be unique to each individual filing, but as far as when it was recorded, obviously. The book type, remember what we talked about before, where we have official records books, and then prior to 1961, we had deed books and mortgage books, etc. So the book type gets entered here. It's in the official records. That's what OR stands for. A document type is referenced as deed. That's an internal thing, a number of pages. The direct name is going to be whoever the grantor is. I'm sorry, yeah, the grantor is, who is the in this instance the seller, who is conveying through this document. And the grantee, the reverse name, that's going to be who is receiving the conveyance. How many the number of names that are on the document itself? Well, we can look at this information on the left side of the screen here. We can count them. Emily McGowan, number 1. Thomas McGowan, 2. John Smith is 3. And Evan Smith is 4. There are 4 total names. The consideration, how much the property was sold for, according to what this document was referenced as. The consideration is $196,000. The legal description that's associated with it is that so the legal description that we type in, it's going to be basically a kind of a synopsis of what the actual legal description is. So in this instance, if you look at in the middle of the page inside that box for the deed, lot 83, Hideaway Old Moultrie, according to map there, that whole section right there is the full legal description according to what at least for as far as what this deed is referencing anyways. And so lot 83, Hideaway at Old Moultrie, that's a watered down version of what's on the document. And that's basically what we type in whenever we're indexing legal descriptions of properties referenced on deeds. So but it is going to be in a uniform manner and a uniform format. We always use the same type of synopsis whenever we're doing that sort of thing. So as long as you kind of figure out how it's typed in, and you're able to kind of look up deeds according to legal description, according to how we type it in. Link, name, address, one, so none of that's applicable here. So let's go back to the search results. Again, you can just keep on looking down through these search results and pick whatever documents you wanted to look at and view online. And again, if you pick a document that you're not able to view the image for, just send in a public records request and we'll be more than happy to provide you a copy of that. So that's just basically the quick search right there. And the book and page is probably going to be the two more commonly used versions, or commonly used portions rather of this website. And that's really the two portions of this search um, that I'm going to really focus on. So if you go back over here to book and page, if you look at the book and page for that deed we were just looking at. Okay, let's use that as an example. So if we find a specific book and page that we want to search for, we click on this portion here, type in that book, type in that page, and click submit. And then starting from that book, it's going to, so this first one here is going to be the book that I searched for. Everything else after that, the next document, next instrument that got filed in sequential order, the next document after that, next document after that, it'll just keep on as far as the search results are concerned. But the very first one on the top of that list, if we go look at that again, that's the first one we looked at before. But nonetheless, as long as you know the book and the specific book and page, you can go directly to that document. So kind of going down the list, I'll kind of touch on the rest of these options here. So name, this is very similar to what the quick search option looked like. And so in which instance you can select which specific name. So, okay, so if you wanted to find a deed, for example, where the direct name, that's going to be the grantor, whoever's selling the property. The direct name starts with Smith John. Book types, official records, document types. You can kind of pick it down here. We'll go with deed. And let's leave the date range the same. Show the first 5,000 records. So given those search results, or given those search criteria, we have 87 deeds that get filtered through into those search results, wherein an individual named John Smith conveyed his interest or his ownership of a property to somebody else. He's doesn't matter if he sold it, if he gave it away, whatever the case may be. He conveyed his ownership to somebody different. And so this is the search results according to that. And you can kind of see if you look through the direct name column right here, John Smith, John Smith, John Smith, John Smith, on down the line. And so again, you can pick and choose whichever one you wanted to look at. And there's just another deed. But if we scroll back up, another way to perform a search is through document type. And this is going to be good for if you want to find a list of all the deeds that were filed, regardless of who the parties were involved. If you want to find a list of all deeds that were filed yesterday, for example, let's try that. Deed, beginning date yesterday, end date yesterday. Let's see what pops up here for us. So 88. So as of right now, well, for yesterday rather, our office recorded 88 deeds. Regardless of who the deed came from and who it went to, there were 88 deeds that were filed. Go down here to consideration. It's the next one down that we haven't touched on yet. You can select, or you can do a search for different conveyances based on their selling price. And what this is going to be good for is for like real estate agents, whenever you're trying to do like a sales study or something along those lines, see how much you wanted to list a property for. This is exactly the kind of thing that you would want to use. So let's say that the lower bound, that's going to be the bottom end of that range. Let's say that we want the lowest end to be $50,000. And let's say the upper bound, we want that to be $60,000. So we're going to have a very narrow search criteria applied here. So document type, let's come down here and click on deed. All time, let's say, let's say how many properties were conveyed within that particular price range from or for the whole year so far. Right? Let's see. 19, it looks like. There are only 19 properties within St. Johns County that were sold this year thus far that was sold between the $50,000 and $60,000 sale range. And that's a good way that that's appropriate for the case number search. So this is a good way to search for. So before I kind of talked about what is and is not considered public or official records, it's also worth noting that within certain specific instances, court records may also need to be cross-filed, where they're still going to be within the court file themselves, but a copy of the final order, for example, might be permanently recorded into official records because the court record itself will eventually be destroyed because it has an expiration date on it, but official records does not. And so in which instance, the final judgment, maybe it acts as a lien against a particular piece of property or something to that effect. And so the final judgment or whatever the court case is might need to be filed into official records so that it can act as a lien. And so in which instance, this is the type of search criteria you can enter in order to locate anything that's in official records that is associated with a specific case number, if you know the case number. Offhand, I don't know a case number to reference, so I'm not going to try to do a search for that right now. But if you need to look for a specific court filing that was also cross-referenced or cross-filed into the official records, then this is how you would be able to search for that. The clerk file number, that's going to be the instrument number. They're one and the same. They're just different titles for the same document. CFN clerk file number. That's what that refers to. So let's just take this one for example. Okay. Didn't mean to do that, but back up here. So if we go to clerk file number and paste that in. So I just copied this one. So we're going to type that in and then click submit. And the first one on those search results is going to be that particular deed. As long as you know that instrument number, that clerk file number, then you can search for that particular document. Same thing with the book and page as well. It's just two different unique pieces of information that get assigned to that specific filing. Go back up here to parcel ID. Now this is one that we get a lot of questions about actually. And we didn't really start using this until somewhere around 20 or 2010, give or take. With the parcel ID number that gets added here, we only index a parcel ID into our filings if it's located on the document itself. Deeds are not required to include the parcel number or the AFN, the assessor's folio number. There's a lot of different names for the same number itself. It's whatever the property appraiser's office uses to identify that specific parcel. For that particular number that the property appraiser uses, deeds are not required to have that number on there. But if they do include that whenever they're drafting the deed, then we'll index that number here. But we only really started to do that around 2010. So a lot of people will try to say, oh, well, I want to type in this particular parcel number and find all the deeds that have to do with my particular property dating back to 1820s. It's not going to work like that, unfortunately. It might work for some of the newer ones, and not all of them are going to have the parcel ID number entered in there for them. So I'm not going to worry about trying to do a search in this one, but I just want to touch on that just to let you know exactly what that does and how it functions and what you can use it for. Record date. This is going to be good for if you're trying to see a list of everything that was filed on a particular day. So let's use yesterday as an example again. So I clicked on this button yesterday and that button yesterday, and what that does is it makes the beginning and the end date the same. I clicked on show the first 5,000 records and clicked submit. So now it's going to show that as for yesterday, we recorded 476 documents. And this is a list of the very first one that got filed, and the second one that got filed, third one that got filed, so on and so forth. And this is a very good way for a lot of anyone who needs like bulk data or something along those lines. This is a good way to get a copy of the index itself. And also, for that matter, too, if you scroll down to the bottom of the page, you can, okay, maybe it's not on the bottom of the page. Hang on. Let's go back up to the top. Okay, yeah, it's at the top. I'm sorry. But near the top of the search results, there's an option here that says export or print, either one. Let's click on print real quick and show you that. So what that does is that if you click print, it will open up in a new tab the list of stuff that you were just looking at. Whoever the grantor's name is, right? Is that what the direct name, whoever the grantor's name is, whoever the grantee's name is, when it was recorded, what type of document it is, what book it was put into, what the book and page number is, the instrument number, whatever the legal description was that got entered. Now, this stuff here, the lot building, block unit, and all that stuff, this is not something that we enter in, but it's something that's available within our system. It's just not something that we use, just simply because we already type in the legal description. So why would we need to type it in twice? And so whenever you do this sort of export or print this list, it's going to show up there, but really it doesn't mean anything. It's just a null field. If you go back to the search results, you can also export these to a CSV file or a Excel spreadsheet file. It's going to look virtually identical to this. It's just going to be in an Excel file format. So I'm not going to worry about trying to do that export, but if you wanted to play around with that, you most certainly can. Going to the next option down on this list of things you can search with for the legal description. This is what I was talking about before, about how we type in our legal description. So let's use this as an example. Legal description right here for this notice of commencement. Back to the search results. So going for the legal description. For the legal description that we're going to type in, it's going to contain this description here. And let's even shorten that down some just for this. Let's say lot 14, surf crest. And document type, say all categories, all time. Now click submit. And our search results are showing 35 records that we have on file for that have a legal description that matches that legal description there. It can be satisfaction, there can be a deed, mortgage, notice of commencement, assignment, etc., an easement, and from various different previous owners and whatnot. So this is a good way to, if you wanted to figure out within official records, previous owners' names for a specific lot and block, this is a good way to do that as well. As long as you know the way that our office has indexed the legal description for that particular parcel. Advanced legal, this is what I was kind of showing you about before, where we don't enter any of this information in, but it's available through the platform that we use. So I'm not going to try to make a search in here. So because every search I'm going to do here is probably going to show up with nothing. So that's everything in a nutshell as far as the different ways that you can search our official records. Going back up here to the get certified documents, let's go down here to find a deed, for example. Let me write this down. So here's a good example here. 2329. Okay, so if we come up here to get certified documents, remember I said that we would come touch on this later. So we click on get certified documents, it will automatically take you to our e-certified website. And from this e-certified website, you can purchase electronically certified copies of court documents or official records, either one. But for this particular instance, I'm only going to talk about official records. If you want to play around with this for the court document side of the house, feel welcome to do so. So in this instance, you type in your name, email, your phone number. So you have to type in everything except for the phone number, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. The terms and conditions. This is what this up here is talking about. It just says, hey, this is what we have this is what we have. You can search through it and you can, of course, use this as is. But we're human. Errors can occur. It's not likely because we strive for a certain level of a certain level of I don't want to say perfection, but quality is probably a good way. So we have a certain level of quality that we expect out of our staff, and they certainly exceed it on a day-to-day basis. And so it's not likely that you'll find very many errors, if any errors at all, with how we index things, but they still can happen. And that's basically what this disclaimer in this terms and conditions is talking about. But click on search result, or click on search. And the first option here, where we can search through court records. Of course, you can search by person's name. That's all fine and well. In this instance, I'm going to go to book and page, because that book and page, or that deed we just looked at a moment ago, book 404, official records for book 404 rather, and page 20. Click on search. Then it'll pull up everything having to do with that particular document, and come up here to this green icon in order to open it up, and it'll show you the same exact information that you're going to look at whenever you're looking at it on Landmark. Everything that's right here, you're going to see it all mirrored right there. Same thing with the image also. So in this instance, if you wanted to purchase an electronically certified copy of this specific deed, you would click add to cart. And whenever you want to look at your cart, there's two different places you can do that at. One at the very bottom where it says view cart, you can do that. Or there's an icon at the very top where it looks like a little shopping cart. And since we've added this one document to it, and there's only one item in our shopping cart, that icon up there shows the number 1 on it. Click on either one of those two options though, it'll pull you into your checkout cart. So it'll tell you in this column how much the statutory fee is. That's how much gets sent to the clerk's office that we are required by law to charge for these copy fees. And then the service fee, this one goes directly to Tridata. That's the company who puts on our e-certified website for us, that we're contracted through whatnot. But this service fee is $6 per document. And so the total that you get is $8. Or that you have to pay is $8. And of course you can proceed to checkout, and you enter in whatever information you need to enter in and go through the process there to enter in your credit card information, debit card information. And so at the end of it, whenever you purchase your electronically certified copy, it will be emailed to you at whatever email address that you designate. Now, one benefit behind an electronically certified copy is that whenever you get that document, and let's say you just have it in your email's inbox for as long as you have that email. If you press delete for that email, then of course you don't have it anymore. But as long as you have that email and you're able to look up that document, whenever you get that document, it has the same amount of validity and clout that it has now. It will have the same amount of validity and clout 10 years from now. So you can print off a copy of it now and then use that for whatever purposes that you need to use it for. And then turn around 10 years later, purchase or print off another copy of it, and you would still be able to use it at that point. It's got the same amount of validity as if we were to create what I affectionately refer to as a traditional paper certified copy. And what I mean by that is whenever on our computers in-house here, if we print off a photocopy of the document in question, and we apply a certification stamp and an embossed seal to it, that's a traditional certified copy. And so those traditional certified copies, um, the two, an electronic certified copy and a traditional certified copy, have the same amount of validity. Now, for who you're trying to collect that certified copy for, they may or may not accept an electronically certified copy. And a good example of that is when people try to get copies of public records for passports or anything having to do with the federal government. Oftentimes, federal governments do not want to accept an electronically certified copy. So if you're trying to get it for a government purpose or something like that, you're trying to decide, should I do the electronically certified copy or should I just purchase a regular traditional copy directly from the St. John's clerk's office? If you're trying to weigh your options out for either one of those two, we always suggest for you to contact the agency that you're trying to collect this certified copy for and ask them, hey, do you accept an electronically certified copy or do you not? So, and that will help you determine which one you need to get. But an electronically certified copy, the benefit behind that is 24/7. You are able to access this website and you're able to purchase an electronically certified copy and do what you need to at that point. Um, and that otherwise, if you try to get a paper traditional certified copy, in that instance, you're limited to whenever our office is open in order for us to facilitate that service for you. So you may pay a little bit more for an electronically certified copy, but you're paying for the convenience more than anything else. So that's basically it in a nutshell, as far as a very quick explanation of what options we have available on our website for searching and viewing through official records. That's everything that I would have as far as my presentation of how it functions. Uh, and so in which instance, the contacts and resources that you can use in order to uh, get more information about this kind of thing. If you need to contact us or if you need to contact the property appraiser's office, on screen you'll see uh, contact information for them, the contact number, the main website, and the location of the physical location of each one of their offices. Does anybody have any questions that we can answer? Anything that you've seen throughout the course of this presentation that you want me to expand on or something along those lines? So far, crickets. Well, I know that I can talk really, really quick.
We do have a question, actually.
Oh, please do. Yes.
Let's see. Where will the recording be saved? I'll go ahead and answer that for you, Matt. So we will be uploading it to our YouTube channel and we will be sharing the link on our social media platforms. It will also be in upcoming newsletters. So St. John's Clerk's YouTube channel is, I believe, YouTube/St. John's Clerk, and I'll drop it in here as well so you have the channel available, but it'll be uploaded in a few hours. So here we go. I'll drop that in the chat. And then we have one more question. Katie might be answering this, but it says, are we able to purchase tax lien certificates online?
And I guess it's also good for us to clarify too. And so the tax deeds process, um, that is that is a process it's kind of split between the tax collector's office and the clerk's office, depending on what part of the process that you're at. Um, and Miss Katie can probably talk more eloquently about it than I could, but um, as far as the clerk's office responsibilities, we do have a portion of our website that's dedicated solely to that right there, to that aspect. So while tax deeds, so the tax deed application, tax deed process, and that's its own separate public record, that technically does not fall under the official records category. But whenever the tax deed gets issued, it does get issued and filed into official records because it ultimately does convey ownership of that particular property from party A to party B. So then the tax deed itself can be cross-filed into official records. But again, it's sort of the same thing as court records where it's all public records, but it's just a different category of type of public record. Does anyone else have any other questions?
What's the best email for everyone to reach out to if they do come up with some questions regarding any of the topics? Can you reiterate that, please?
So the best email to use, if you probably send something to prr@stjohnsclerk.com. It's the one that's been referenced in previous slides here. I'll type it in. Okay, so it looks like Melissa's already
Gotcha.
typed it there. Yeah. So that's going to be the best email to use if you need to submit either a public records request or a public information request. So what I mean by a public information request, so the difference between those two, a public records request is if the requesting party is requesting to receive copies of public records. That's what a public records request is by nature of how it's defined. A public information request is if, hey, how do I do this? Or what does this mean whenever I look at this online? That's a public information request because you're asking about information regarding public records. So either one of those two instances, shoot us an email to prr@stjohnsclerk.com. That's the best place to send it to.
Awesome. Well, I think that's a wrap then. If anyone has any questions about anything discussed, like Matt said, you can email prr@stjohnsclerk.com. And again, this will be available on our YouTube channel, which is in the chat, and our social media channels in the next day or so. So thank you so much, and stay tuned and follow our social media accounts to see when we have our next webinar.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye, everyone.